It's not just my imagination making things up.
It's real.
The next day I meditated, and a loud voice came and said, "You have stage 3 ovarian cancer." And I was in a very calm, grounded state. And I was like, what? Like, what? And sure enough, just, you put your hands up your uterus, you could feel squishy, painful tumors this big. I went to my pelvic floor specialist and he said, yep, those are tumors. I've dealt with cancer patients before. And then, I got to the work to live in, starting to be birthed. And I think right now we're in this interesting time of the old earth collapsing. This is the old paradigm of control, of scarcity, of poverty, of challenge, fear. And we're seeing this huge transformation where, everyone is a life coach and therapy is normal and everyone does yoga, meditation, sound baths. And I think that's a wonderful thing because we're starting to call in a baseline of wellness that we want in our lives. And that really is directly related to the capacity that we love and honor and respect ourselves. And because we're starting to honor, love, and respect ourselves, we are demanding a new reality to exist in. I don't want to have to go to a 9 to 5 and pay bills and die and just have a boring life. And mindfulness, I literally meditated and changed and altered my DNA in the quantum field. And in 5.5 months, the tumors in my womb was gone. But I also had to do the purification work because I could see, when you have that awareness, there's for me, what awareness looks like is like, there's awareness of feeling good and feeling bad. And I had awareness that there was energy and sadness and grief in my womb. So we need to expand our inner vibration, expand our inner capacity to hold more love, to hold more well-being, to hold more deservingness, to hold more peace and unity. And that's the work that we're doing. So that's my stand, that's my prayer. I was blocked there. And when I started meditating, I could see all the sexual trauma that I was carrying in my womb from my ancestors that would have me not feel safe sexually. That's where all that pain and those tumors had manifested. And I saw all these little girls in my village in Indonesia, back many generations, who their souls were coming to me. They had been raped in a war type of like raid. And they were asking me to purify myself so I could liberate them. But in order for us to be the vibration to create it, we first have to create that feeling within. And so, I have my courses where I offer mothers tapping, EFT tapping, where you tap out that stuck energy. And that's just one modality, but it's a really good starting place. And you have your energy modalities, but doing that inner work is so important. We need to create the new earth within ourselves if we want to birth the new earth out there, so that we have the vessel to hold that expanded level of light if they practice.
Well, you know what? So speaking of the clairs, I think that, well, I mean, you'll hear lots of different people say this, but everybody has this ability. It just needs to be cultivated. Exactly. But I also think that clair cognizance is kind of the common.
I have a communal space where food is always available, and the food comes from our earth, exactly where we live. It's grown there and then farm to table. I want co-working spaces where I can share my gifts and my creations. I want to have a conscious nature school on the land, so I don't need to drive in traffic to rush my kids out the door. I'm right there with them. The elders are taking care of the young people. And we have our goddess space. We have the men's dojo. And I accessed that deeper through meditation. So I started meditating. And the interesting thing is that it was actually my addicted, toxic, abusive, violent ex that was also my greatest spiritual teacher, that taught me and got me to practice regular meditation and I could start channeling my higher self. I could start connecting to higher dimensional beings. I could start, connecting to the Akashic records. We train them to do psychic intuition, where we blindfolded them and they would read out cue cards and train their superpowers. And 9 out of 10 times they'd be right. They'd be like, red square. These are the types of things that are going to be emerging in the new earth. And there's already these schools out there in India. They teach children how to do telekinesis, and with their energy fields, they're spinning physical matter. So when you say your thoughts actually move physical matter in the universe, it actually does. And the higher dimensional capabilities we have, we'll be able to have that instant manifestation. But we need to first steward our leadership capabilities to be responsible to.
It was so much so that I actually wound up inventing my own protocol. Yeah.
Wow.
And in my opinion, it makes Reiki look like child's play. This purification process, because when you have a something that has a real charge to it, it's a lot harder to work through. So you gotta kind of take a multi-pronged approach. So this remembering that I'm getting, apparently through some experiences that I've had, is through an Atlantean lineage.
Yeah.
And so some of the devices that I am using now for the purification process has, like, I've had more movement in the last 6 months than I did probably in the previous 10 years.